Everybody would stop for a minute and just take note that the President of the United States and how he has sent his lawyer over to help the friends of Nolan Wells' defense. But in 1989, he paid $85,000 for a full-page newspaper advertisement calling for the death penalty for what later became known as the Central Five, the Central Park Five, which were consisting of Black and Latino teenagers who were wrongly accused of attacking a jogger in Central Park. The teens were later exonerated by DNA evidence and a confession from the actual perpetrator. But Trumpstein has declined to apologize and even faces an ongoing defamation lawsuit from them. If you don't recall, because it was before a lot of y'all's time, the ad shouted the slogan in all caps, "Bring back the death penalty, bring back our police." So what we're seeing our police do right now, what we're seeing our police do under his first term with the murder of George Floyd and all the countless other black lives and brown lives that were lost, we're seeing the same thing happening in ICE and our current police right now under the guidance of this particular president. But yet for Nolan Wells, who is deceased, God rest his poor soul, this man, Trumpstein, has given his defense attorney to the five friends of Nolan Wells. And no one's talking about that. And I also want to point out, when asked about the case years later, Trumpstein and called the city's financial settlement with them, quote, "a disgrace," end of quote, and refuses to this day to issue an apology when his funky diaper wearing, dementia farting, waking himself up ass is wrong, and he's wrong about everything else that he's lying about in office. The group, now correctly named and known as the Exonerated Five, has filed a federal defamation lawsuit against Trump, and I hope they get every penny. The suit stems from the false statements Trump has made during a presidential debate where he claimed the men had pled guilty and that the victim had died. The federal judge allowed the lawsuit to move forward towards trial. So yes, some of the friends of Nolan Wells, specifically Warren Hudson, Jax Pittelow, and Morgan Seymour, added the defamation and media attorney Edward Andrew Polzik to their legal defense team alongside Mississippi attorney J. Tyler Cox. Now, Polzik has previously represented, of course, Trumpstein in high-profile legal disputes involving major media organizations like CBS, Paramount, and the BBC. So he specifically is representing Warren, Jax, and Morgan. And the reasoning for hiring him is to address the intense online scrutiny, threats, and to potentially pursue legal remedies regarding statements circulating online. So basically, Trump has lent his lawyer to these friends of Nolan Wells, so then anything that anyone says negatively about them online, they can use this high-powered attorney to go after them. Are you freaking kidding me? The same guy who slandered and is actually in court right now because of the slander charges from the 1989 case, but then he's actually on the other side of the table in a very similar style case, now representing people that look innocent from slander. This doesn't make sense. Is he okay? Well, we know he's not okay. We are literally living in the mind of a demented man, an evil, racist, fascist, child-raping man. My friends, we are living as John Malkovich in Trumpstein's demented
Wrongfully
head.
convicted.
5 teenagers were arrested, tried, convicted, and sent to prison.
No men were exonerated.
What he did to us, he tried to end us.
Of course I hate these people.
So-called Central Park 5.
Calling for execution.
And let's all hate these people.
We cannot have this man go into office again.
I want society to hate him.
We were innocent kids.
The confessions were coerced.
Today, we are exonerated. That guy says he still stands by the original guilty verdict.
This is about democracy being on the ballot.
Absolutely.
And then if you head on over to Edward Andrew Pultzig's bio, you'll read that he is one of the leading practitioners of defamation and media law in the United States. He's also the vanguard of AI legal revolution, developing and pioneering a novel practice area of, quote, AI abuse, end of quote, by aggressively defending high-profile clients against the new tidal wave of abusive AI-generated lawsuits brought by pro se litigants and unscrupulous attorneys alike. He totally even sounds like Donald Trump. This is insane, or shall we say he's writing scripts for Donald Trump, and this is what he sounds like, until he, of course, ventures off into dementia diaper land. But basically, they are attacking people with AI while simultaneously claiming to be the top defenders of said actions. Are we really in the Twilight Zone? And do they really think American people are that dumb? The world sees it. American people see it. Do you? And then let's talk about unscrupulous attorneys, because John Tyler Cox, if you go to his webpage, he has taken the liberty of adding honorable to his name, which is a big no-no. So when you go to his page, it says Honorable J. Tyler Cox. I included it in the picture. Pause and read it. But basically, he went to Mississippi College on a football scholarship where he earned his undergraduate degree, then attended Mississippi College School of Law where he earned his Juris Doctorate and law license in 2019. So my question is, during that time, we knew a lot of people got in trouble for falsifying records, for attending school, saying that they attended and didn't attend, had people take their tests for them, take their MCATs and their bar exam for them. I'm wondering if that's the case in this, allegedly. Because he's committing such a big ethical breach that a person that truly earned their degree would never, and I repeat, never put the title of judge before their name, and they're just a lowly prosecutor. His webpage, he says he's earned the title due to his service as prosecutor for the Ocean Springs Municipal City Court. Standard practicing lawyers do not use this prefix. They typically just use the suffix Esquire, ESQ. So the only people that have the authority to use the word honorable or on for HON before their name, they are a judge. He is not a judge. They've held an elected office. He has not held an elected office. Like if the attorney previously served as a mayor, member of Congress, a state legislator, or governor, then they would get this title, but he has not. Also, they have either had to have held a high appointed position, like a high-ranking government legal role, such as a U.S. Attorney General, or U.S. Attorney, or a cabinet secretary. They're granted this lifetime courtesy. Again, he has never had any of these roles. Here's the key right here. The key rules of use. It is used by others. The title is a courtesy meant to be used by other people when writing to or addressing the attorney. The attorney does not do it and take it upon themselves to address themselves as this. He really is a Donald Trump fucking attorney, because the only people that would do this would have to have enormous egos, be very narcissistic, and have the caucasity to do it in broad daylight. And I want to add, it is never self-applied. An attorney should never sign their own name or build a signature block using Honorable John Doe, as naming yourself honorable is considered a major breach of etiquette. 2 days ago when he was talking on the media, talking about he made his blockbuster claim that he was willing to bet his reputation that the Nolan Wells family had not turned over the cell phone. He doesn't care about his reputation. I argue allegedly he didn't earn it, and he does not care about losing it because it was something that he didn't earn. Talking about the police do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff Office hasn't. So how can you say there's any text missing or the photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone. I'm willing to bet my reputation on that. I don't think they've cooperated at all, speaking of the Nolan Wells family. But again, when you put the shoe on the other foot, you have the throat and the neck being sent off for further testing, and that has not been shared with the second ME that's performed the autopsy independently of the first. As a matter of fact, the autopsy was completed back on July 31st, and the details have not been released. The results from the state's medical examiner's office have not been made public, and now will be sent to a grand jury. So we're not sharing information you want Nolan Wells' family to share while you guys are not sharing and want to continue to pretend like this is all fair. Make it make sense. Because they said on July 23rd, the Office of the District Attorney, Angel Myers McIlrath, confirmed the autopsy report in Nolan Wells' death will be withheld until a grand jury can review it. Quote, every death in the county, except those of natural causes and non-criminal car wrecks, is presented to your grand jury. Many people don't know that we have handled death investigations in this manner my entire career. Which in itself is very telling, because basically they're saying, of course, he didn't die of natural causes, and it was obviously a non-criminal car wreck because they were on a boat. So something happened to him, and that's why it's being presented to the grand jury. It's also worth noting that the attorney, Eric Hertz, is leading the team's investigation, and they're in continuing talks with the district attorney's office about conducting a joint inspection of the cell phones related to the case. So they are cooperating. This attorney's just out spitting hate and rage bait on the internet. Again, very indicative of someone who has not earned their law degree, but instead was handed it through white privilege, because they wouldn't be out so recklessly using and throwing terms and words around. Hertz concludes by saying that he believes the FBI would be present for that inspection of the phones. So one other thing that I thought was interesting, I'm going to play this clip next, the interview of J. Tyler Cox by Dan Abrams. And it was pretty interesting at the end that he pointed out why Nolan didn't have a cell phone. It was because they didn't have a boat launch or a dock, which, again, we don't know. We're not boots on the ground there. But that people would have to just drop anchor and swim in the last 100 or 50 feet to shore. So that totally explains why Nolan's phone was not with his body. But it kind of does but doesn't, because when I went out of country and we went into water, guess what? The guides had waterproof containers for our cell phones. So you're trying to tell me you're going to go to an island? These are kids. Kids do not like to be separated from their phones. He's trying to make it seem like, oh, this is about just going out, living in the moment and being there. Yeah, no. Kids don't do that. They do not like to be separated from their phones. And with the advent of Ziploc bags and waterproof actual things that one can buy and actually make it be nice and designer and fancy, yeah, I don't think that's the case. So it did highlight, he tried to bring in a good point about dropping anchor and no one having their phones. But in this day and age, people still, where there's a will, there's a way.
Was Nolan Wells, were there messages missing out of his phone? And the second thing is,
absolutely
photos
not.
have come out. Yeah, they're saying that there were messages missing off of his phone. His phone was wiped. And another thing, there's pictures of, like with the modern day, with people with cell phones and social media, there's pictures with adults on that boat. There, in one of the adults, they're even saying it's like an affluent crowd, judge, businessman. They were saying
I mean,
it's just kids, but they're adults there.
Right, but here's the thing that they're saying. I don't know who the they is, but go ahead. Tyler, you want to take this one? Or
yeah,
Ed?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I saw a headline a few weeks back that said Ben Crump and the family is going to allow the Jackson County Sheriff's Office access to Nolan's phone. You know what I never heard? I never heard him follow through with that. I have reason to believe, and I do believe, that they have not cooperated with law enforcement. I do not think that they have turned in Nolan's phone. And I'm willing to bet my reputation on that. I don't think they've cooperated at all. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department hasn't. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
Edward, go ahead.
I'll just add something. And again, this is why you have to be on the ground there or in the water. When I went to the island, when I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity on Friday, one of the things you notice right away is that there's no dock. There's not a boat launch. There's not a dock. When you get to the island, you drop anchor 50, 100 feet offshore, whatever the case may be, and you swim to shore. That right there is one reason why many folks don't bring their phones onto the island. And that's also another reason why, you may not have as many photos or content as you might expect. And I will also just say another thing. Quite frankly, people go out there to have a good day. They go out there to have a good time, to unplug, to unwind, to get away from the world. They're in the sand. They're in the surf. They're in the water. It's not a cell phone environment.